I started reading about 2 years ago, and so far I've read about 50 books. Everything about psychology, business, philosophy, science, and general self-help. But there are just some books that completely changed my life in ways that I didn't even know were possible. Which I know, it sounds clickbaity.
How could a book completely change your life?
Which is something I used to think, but not anymore. So today, I want to share the 8 books that genuinely changed my entire life. But before that, I want to introduce myself for those of you that are new here. My name's Satya. I'm a personal trainer and college student studying finance and psychology. And on this channel, I share everything I learn and do as someone that's following their curiosities and trying to become the best version of themselves. I believe that if you want to achieve your full potential, you need to embrace a mindset of being curious and aware. Now that that's out of the way, we can actually get into everything. Now, this first book is one of the first books I ever read and continues to be my number one. I've yet to have a book have such an impact on my life. It's the one that got me to fall in love with reading and learning. It broke so many beliefs about what I knew, and I've never looked at the world the same way. This book is what helped me truly heal from all of my traumas, the depression, the anxiety, the self-hatred, the brokenness and shame, guilt. It helped me embrace an entirely new version of myself, one that's filled with so much gratitude, love, joy, fulfillment, and hope. In a way, you could say that I learned how to break the habit of being myself. I remember the first time I applied the action step from this book like it was yesterday. I didn't know what I was expecting, but what I can tell you is that I wasn't expecting to cry tears of joy because of the overwhelming amount of love and gratitude that I felt for the first time in my life. Dr. Joe Dispenza creates a bridge between science and spirituality, proving that's not just a pseudoscience, which I don't know why people think that now. It's like controversial to be spiritual. He combines the fields of quantum physics, neuroscience, brain chemistry, biology, and genetics to prove that not only can you break away from your old negative self and step into this higher version, but as well as creating any life that you want as long as you break the habit of being yourself. If I could distill the main idea of this book into one sentence, which is hard because there's just so much meat to it, it's fucking awesome, it would be this: your thoughts create your actions, and your frequent thoughts and actions are called your habits. And your habits create your state of being in this world, aka your personality. And your personality creates your personal reality. All this means is that your mind and thoughts are completely intertwined with the matter of this world. And whatever your mind is primarily consumed of, it will manifest itself into reality, which I fucking hate saying that word because when I used to hear that word, I would just think of crystal girls and just sitting there and wishing for something, which that's not what it is at all. And you know, I'm gonna go on a little ramble real quick. If you're not an open-minded person and you're not willing to try out the things that I'm talking about, this channel is not for you. Just go ahead, stop watching, unsubscribe, whatever, I don't care. This channel is meant for those that want more out of life and have an open mind. Now, this next book is the first book I ever read and continue to reread at the beginning of each year. If you pair this one with breaking the habit of being yourself, I truly believe you can achieve anything you want in life. Because this one is more about a mental reprogramming of your subconscious to change your habits. This one is more practical and about creating systems to create good habits and destroy bad ones for good. It helped me overcome my weed addiction, which I'll open up more about in future videos. Reduce my screen time from 8 hours to just 3, helped me achieve a physique that I'm proud of, read 40 books in 1 year, and much more. All because of focusing on getting 1% better every day by focusing on the tiny actions, or should I say, Atomic Habits. This is one of the most popular self-help books of all time, and it makes sense why. The steps in here are so practical and straightforward that it will immediately change your life. James Clear emphasizes 2 main points in here. One, Rather than focusing on the goal that you want, for example, mine was gaining 50 pounds, you want to focus on becoming the type of person that already has the goal that you want. So I would focus on becoming a fit person instead of just achieving an arbitrary goal. And 2, the power of compounding. And he gives an amazing graph to visualize this. If you get 1% better every day for a year, at the end of it, you would have gone 37.78% better. While if you got 1% worse, you would have gone 0.03% worse at the end of the year. And this is exactly why you need to focus on consistency and the atomic habits rather than the goal itself. This next one is arguably one of the most controversial books in history. In fact, it's so controversial that when the author's wife read it, she told him that he couldn't publish it until everyone in their family's generation was dead. She was just so scared of the criticism it would receive that it was hidden away for over 70 years. It was finally released in 2011, and funny enough, the ideas in here apply more in today's world than it did back then. Just like the first one, it completely changed my beliefs about the world. Supposedly, this book contains the secrets to freedom and success and explains why 99% of people fail to achieve their dreams, primarily through one factor, which is fear. In the book is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, who also wrote Think and Grow Rich, one of the best self-help books of all time. Now, there are so many reasons why this book is so controversial, some of them being the extreme takes about religion and the education system. But the main reason is because the author literally has a conversation, more specifically an interview, with the devil. Now, I'm not telling you that you need to fully believe that he talked to the devil. Again, this channel is only meant for those with an open mind. Literally just fuck off if you're not willing to open your mind to new ideas. Just read this book and see the ideas for what they are. He says the devil controls 98% of the population, primarily through fear, but also other factors like propaganda and shitty food and a lot more. He calls these people drifters, ones that are unaware and mindlessly go through life. They don't figure out what they want for themselves, and they just simply do what they're told. And this is so clear in today's world, which, side note, is why it's part of my slogan, curious and aware. So many people just lack awareness, and that's why I'm trying to promote it anyways. This book made me realize that there's some kind of agenda in the system. Call me a conspiracy theorist, whatever. I don't care. It made me realize that slavery is still a thing, but it's no longer physical. It's just all mental. And actually, I plan on making a video on this in the future, so stay tuned for that. I want you to try and answer this question. Who are you? No, like actually take a second, pause the video if you have to. Think about who you are. Over 90% of people can't actually answer this question because they lack awareness, which is again why I promote it so much. Most people will answer with their name. I'm Satya Sharma, but Satya and Sharma are just two words that my parents labeled me with. It's called my name, but it's not me. Other people will say, well, this is me, right? Well, it's not you, it's your body. You don't say am leg or am arm. You say it's my leg, it's my arm. It's your body, it's your name. So, who are you really? Well, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer answers this question. This book takes you through a journey within and beyond yourself. You walk through your relationship with your own thoughts and emotions. You begin to understand who you truly are in your inner energy. You start to awaken your consciousness, become more aware, and truly free yourself from the physical world. You truly start to achieve inner peace and live a life that's freeing, joyful, and meaningful to you. And the great thing about this is that it's so short with less than 200 pages and easy to read, but it takes a second to internalize the ideas in this book so that it can actually change your life. This one, paired with Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, allowed me to unlock my consciousness in ways that I didn't even know were possible. I finally feel like I've freed myself from the negativity of this world and my old identity, and truly become at peace with my inner voice in this terrifying yet amazing world. When it comes down to it, there are really only two things people want in life. Take a second to pause this video and think about what these 2 things might be. I'm sure you'll get it though. Well, the answer is wealth and happiness. Getting rich is not about luck, and happiness is not something that you're born with. It's obtainable for everyone as long as you try hard, but you need to make sure you're doing so on the right things. In the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, just pretend this is it because I listened to the audiobook version of it anyways. This book is what's going to teach you how to become wealthy and happy. And speaking of audiobooks, this video's sponsored by Audible. No, I'm just kidding. I know, so funny. Not sponsored by them just yet. I do love Audible. Gonna go on a quick ramble. If I'm getting sponsored by a company and I'm promoting a product to you about them whenever that time comes, it's gonna be about something that I actually use in a company that I like. I'm not just gonna do it for the money. The money's never been the goal. Anyways, this book is so short and so easy to get through. It takes less than 5 hours, but there's just so many nuggets in it that you'll be shocked how a 5-hour audiobook could just completely change you. It's one of those books that's just worth rereading over and over, and each time you leave with something new. Not only should you give this book a read, but you should also listen to the podcast episode of him and Joe Rogan. There's so much wisdom to it, and just like how I've read his book several times, I've also listened to this podcast several times. With the rise of masculine role models like the Tate brothers, you begin to question what it really means to be a man. Is it being rich as fuck, having a bunch of supercars, living in a big house, and fucking a bunch of women? Well, the short answer is fuck no, and it's far from that. This next book shows you what it truly means to be a masculine man. Not only does it talk about this, but as well as masculine and feminine energy, the polarity of it, and how to beautifully dance with it. For example, as a man, I'm trying to follow my purpose, build my career, and being able to provide for my loved ones, while also having a tender and loving heart so that I can nurture those around me. I hope that helps you understand just a little bit of how to dance with the masculine and feminine energy. It's literally a yin and yang. And the book is called The Way of the Superior Man. Not only does he talk about everything I just mentioned, but he also talks about how men and women typically operate. This is a must read for men. And if you're a woman, despite the title, you should still read this because it'll help you better understand how men typically operate and have you cultivate a deeper understanding of masculine and feminine energy. Could you imagine how it would be to be the Emperor of Rome at its peak? And I know all of us guys have thought about the Roman Empire and just being an emperor during that time, whatever. Typical man brain stuff. How would you be living your life if you were the most powerful man in the world? Would you just slack off, please yourself with food and sex, and just live the most comfortable life possible? Because after all, you're the most powerful man in the world and have everything that you could ever want. So you couldn't possibly be dealing with any internal problems, right? Well, Meditations from Marcus Aurelius says otherwise. Now, this was never meant to be a book. It was the personal journal of the Emperor Marcus Aurelius. It's about Stoic philosophy, and Marcus would write to himself about how to be a better emperor, better human being, about self-discipline, humility, self-actualization, personal ethics, strength, leadership, and much, much more. It's so fascinating because Marcus is not only just trying to figure out how to be a better emperor, but how not to let this power corrupt him in his soul. This will forever be in my top 3 books of all time. I read it every single night because it's so easy to read and so digestible because there's no chapters. It's just bullet points of quotes and thoughts he would have to himself. I bet you've all heard the saying that time is money. We want to make sure that we're spending our time wisely, but also when we're spending it, that we're being super productive with it. There's a lot of productivity advice that I've consumed out there. And the number one advice being just be disciplined and just get the work done. While yes, that's super important, that's not what the secret is to maximizing your productivity. Ali Abdaal talks about this secret in his new book called Feel Good Productivity. It helped me overcome procrastination and struggling to get anything done to being productive throughout my entire day. So if you want to learn what the secret is in this book, just click on this video right over here. I made a complete in-depth summary of this life-changing book. And of course, remember to always stay curious and aware.